Well, hello everybody. A little bit late trying to get everything together and making sure the first time I've set up one in advance, I had to figure out how to go back and get that link. So I didn't have to start a new link, which I really didn't want to have to do. So that's what happened there. Hopefully now it's just a one-time deal where I have to figure out what the heck's going on. Hello, Kenyon. Good to see you this morning. Or I guess this afternoon if you're on the East. Hello, Robert. I'm sure you're probably at work listening. That's great as well. All right, we do have the Cincinnati Reds and the Montreal Expos. And let's see, I think if I put this, I'm thinking if I put this webcam ring on, it might be too bright. So I'm going to leave that part off. I think you can see everything fairly well, the part you need to see. Reds and the Expos, first of a 3-game set. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this game on the stream live, and then when the stream cuts off, I'm going to keep everything on the table the way it is, and I'm going to set up games 2 and 3 and record those, and then put those out throughout the week to kind of mix it up with the Stratomatic one, so I can get this, because if I wait till every Saturday to play these things, it'll take forever to finish. So I really want to, while I've got everything on the table, all the peripherals and stuff, I want to keep it going, keep the momentum going. And so I think if I play the 3 in a row, that will help. So this is game 13. The Reds are 9-3 on the replay. Montreal, not that it matters, but because I'm using Stratomatic to do everything else for the other teams, sim everything else. So in the Stratomatic version of this, the Expos are 9-6. Keep in mind, Eric Davis is on the disabled list, so he is not available to play. So they've moved Billy Hatcher from left field to center field, and Rolando Rooms, against a left-hander, will be playing in left field for the Reds. When a right-hander comes up, probably they'll use Hal Morris or Herm Winningham, one or the other. And if it's Winningham, they'll probably put Winningham in center and move Hatcher back to his normal left field. Home plate umpires for this game, just as they were in real world: Doug Harvey behind the plate, Jerry Crawford at first, Dana DeMuth at second, and Tom Hallion at first base. So I will put these umpires back where they belong, but I wanted to show them. Doug Harvey is respected. He's the home plate umpire, and his only quality is respected, but he's a respected umpire. So we'll see if that comes up. We got Zane Smith and Tom Browning. We'll go through our lineups real quick. First, we have to go through the game day check, because that's what you do in History Maker Baseball, is you go through the game day check. Hello, Chuck and DJ and Hardwood. Brian B., not anywhere in the near future will I do anything with Inside Pitch. Like you said, I enjoyed it the way it was. The only thing they could have done to improve it was make lefty-righty splits for everybody and give cards for individual players that were traded instead of having one combined card, give them individual cards. Other than that, I thought the game was almost flawless. Not flawless completely, but very, very good. So, no, I won't be doing anything with Inside Pitching anytime in the near future as far as the advance goes or any of that stuff like that. Maybe way down the road, I might look into doing something and maybe ordering it with a season I don't already have, but I'm not going to reorder another season I've already bought. That just doesn't make any sense. So, all right, so we go our game day checks. Now, the Reds have won 6 in a row, so they are automatically harmonious, which means they automatically go to the sunny side of the chart. So we'll see what happens on the game day check. It is a 4, which is the front office. So we're going to see what happens on the front office. A 5 or a 6 is a non-issue. 1 to 4, something happens. That's a 5, so it's a non-issue. So they have nothing going on there. Just means they're harmonious, that's all. Montreal, by default, is neutral. So full harmony for the Reds and full neutrality for the Expos. Maybe nickname them Sweden, because Sweden was always famous for being neutral in all the little wars and whatnot. Okay, so I think we are about ready to go. Let's look at the score sheet for the starting lineups. I went to the Montreal's prior game in real world, and Tim Wallach is designated as the cold batter. Galarraga is designated hot batter. Previous game for the Reds, Sabo is cold, Benziger is hot. So we got the Shields, Grissom, Raines, Wallach, Galarraga, Walker, Santavenio, Owen, and Zane Smith. And for the Reds, Sabo, Hatcher, Larkin, Benziger, Duncan, O'Neill, Rooms, Oliver, and Browning make up their starting rotation. This game was played April 27th, 1990. Like I said, it is game number 13 on the season. Reds started the season 3-3. They've won 6 in a row, so they're looking to keep it going. And Tom Browning enters the replay in a bit of a struggle. He's 1-0, but his ERA is 7.20. 20 innings pitched, 28 hits, 10 walks, and 12 strikeouts. So with all those formalities out of the way, I think we're ready to go. Delino DeShields steps in, and DeShields will be facing Browning, lefty on lefty. That's a 1-1-3. Is he ace or dynamic? No, he's not. Is the batter a slugger? No, he's actually a scrapper. So he's going to single to center field. So how about that? DeShields will get himself a single, unless the only caveat is if he's sad sack, and he's not a sad sack. So DeShields will single to start things off. He will single. Now, he is active, so we're going to see if he gets the lead. He needs a dot to get the lead, and he does get the lead, so he's going to go. And for stolen bases in History Maker Baseball, it's pretty simplistic. Not a whole lot to it. Once you get that lead established, then you're looking at the catcher, if he's gold, neutral, or iron. And we got a neutral catcher in Joe Oliver. So that normal catcher or neutral catcher, stealing second base, it's 1-4. So it's a very simple 1-4. He's safe. 5 or 6, he's out. He's safe. So DeShields steals second base. And Montreal has something going here in the first inning. Single by DeShields and a stolen base. And that will send up the number 2 hitter, Marquise Grissom. Grissom, only a semi-scrapper. That's pretty much his, and he's active. That's about his only qualities. Browning, 4.46. Is he a star? No, he's not. Is the batter sad sack, utility, or patient? He's none of that. So that's a single to right field. Lee dive 4 is going to score DeShields from second base. So Grissom, an RBI single, and the Expos are out in front 1-0 early, as the Reds have stepped up in competition after beating up on the Braves, Padres, and Phillies. They are hitting a much better team now. And with Browning's struggles, that's not going to help their cause. So RBI single for Grissom puts the Expos ahead 1-0. And that's just 2 batters in. So Grissom is aboard. I won't try to over-abuse the stolen base thing, so we'll hold Grissom there. So Tim Raines is your batter. That's a 4.66. Does he have control? Yes, he does. That means he's going to give up a single. So that's when it's good not to have control, but his control was so fine that it didn't phase the batters. They weren't reaching for the ball at all, and Raines strokes a single, puts runners on the corners, and things are getting from bad to worse for Mr. Browning. He is now a semi-struggler because he's given up 3 consecutive hits. He's a semi-struggler. The Reds infield is going to play back for a double play. They need outs in the worst way. And here's Wallach, 1.56 for Wallach. Is he a whiffer? No, he's not a whiffer. So we have outfield drama for the Reds. And in their outfield, everyone is neutral on the drama chart. And that's a 2.5 on outfield drama. And that says center fielder iron. No, they're not iron. So it's a running grab of a looping liner. And we'll see if it's a sacrifice fly or not. It says here, runners advance, 1 base on single. Active runner on third base scores on flyouts. Well, Grissom is active. He's not semi-active. He's fully active. So that's going to be a sacrifice fly off the bat of Tim Wallach. So he flies out to center, but it's going to score Grissom from third, and it's 2-0 Expos on the sac fly. It will take the struggler away from Browning because he does record an out. So now we're going to go to the big cat, Andres Galarraga. It's a 3.46. Is he eager? He is semi-eager, but the dot says no, so it will be a walk. So Galarraga was able to wait out Browning and draw the base on balls. And since there was an off day between the Philly series and this series, the Reds bullpen is rested, and they might be coming in earlier than Tom Browning would have liked, because he is definitely having his issues. Here's Larry Walker, still only one out, runners at first and second. 1-2-6 is the freshness check, and he is fresh, so it's a line drive to second base. That's out number 2. It would have been a double play had this been a dot. They would have doubled up Rains, but the dot's not there, so the line drive to second just goes as a line drive to second. Is not a double play, but it's a much-needed second out, and now Browning can maybe get out of it by getting Santavina out. Expos had a kind of a loaded lineup here in 1990. Precursors, their 93 team that did so well, and 94 team that really did well. So here's Santavina. 3-4-5. Iron catcher knows. Have a good eye. No, he does not. It's a strikeout, and that's going to end the inning. But the Expos put up 2 runs here in the first inning off a shaky Tom Browning. And we go to the bottom of the first. It is Montreal 2 and the Reds coming to bat. That result was in blue, so we're going to the right now chart. Even though Smith has not pitched and Sabo has not hit, it does carry over. So we will go to the right now chart. Both guys are actually neutral, obviously, since nobody's done anything. So here's Chris Sabo. Sabo's hitting 309. No homers, 5 driven in. And on the right now chart, that's a 4-5. And on the right now chart, it asks, is it a cold batter? No. Yes, he is a cold batter. He is a designated cold batter. Chris Sabo is the designated cold batter. So since he's cold, swings and miss, strikeout. If not third out, next batter strikes out too. So Sabo's going to not only strike out, but he's going to cause Billy Hatcher to strike out because he's so cold. It affects Hatcher as well. So back-to-back strikeouts for Zane Smith. And that's, part of the gameness of this game is that you get a cold batter, he can affect other players. Here is Barry Larkin. Barry Larkin. Hello, Mr. Jeffrey. Good to see you. So Barry Larkin is up now with 2 outs and bases empty. That's a 2-2-4. And the 2-2-4 check asks, is he pitching at home? No, Zane Smith's on the road, so he's not pitching at home. Doesn't get that benefit. Is the batter a slugger? Barry Larkin is a scrapper, not a slugger. But he's still going to single to right field, and an active runner would steal the base. So, but he's not active because the dot doesn't give it to him. But Larkin will single, get a 2-out single for Barry Larkin. And that's going to bring up the designated hot batter, Todd Benzinger. So a 2-out single for Larkin. He might try to steal as well. No, he's not going to try to steal, actually. He's semi-active. I'm only going to do that with fully active players. I'll let the game dictate the other stolen bases. All right, here is Benzinger. It's a 2-4-6. Does the pitcher have control? Zane Smith is a control pitcher. So it's a ground ball right back to Zane Smith to end the inning. And that's going to do it for the Reds. They come away empty-handed. At the end of 1 inning of play, it's Montreal 2 and Cincinnati nothing. And Tom Browning will have to regroup and do a lot better than he did in the first inning. He's going to face the bottom of the order, Spike Owen, Zane Smith, and then Delino DeShields. So he might have a better chance against the bottom part of the order. Hello, Frank. How are you doing? So Spike Owen, your batter, 1-5-5. Is he a home run king? Spike Owen is a semi-scrapper, not a home run king, so he will fly out to center field, and that's 1 away. So that's one that Browning got away with. If he'd have faced a guy with a lot of power, that would have been a home run, but he didn't, and it wasn't. So it's a fly out to Hatcher in center for 1 away, and now the pitcher, Zane Smith, he's got his typical pitcher hitting qualities, which aren't very good. That's a 1-4-5. Pitcher's not a struggler, so he's going to ground out to first base. 2 down. So 2 up and 2 down. Much better start for Browning this inning than the previous inning. Flips the order back over to Delino DeShields. He singled, stole second, and scored his first time up. 1-1-6 is a freshness check. We're in the second inning, so he's definitely fresh, and it's a strikeout. So Tom Browning definitely riding the ship as he gets the Expos 1-2-3 here in the second inning. Go to the bottom of the second. Still 2-0 favor of Montreal. And the Reds looking to dip into that lead. And leading off would be Mariano Duncan. He's hitting an even 400. No homers and 5 runs driven in. So 1-4-5. Pitcher's not a struggler, so he's going to ground it to third. And that's 1 away for Duncan as he grounds out to Tim Wallach for 1 away. And here is Paul O'Neill, right fielder. And O'Neill checks in hitting .326, a homer and 8 driven in. 2-6-6 is he. There's nobody on first. He's not the leadoff batter, so he's going to fly out to right field. And that's 2 away. And that'll bring up Orlando Rooms. He's in left field. He's hitting .294, no homers and 1 run driven in. 1-6-6 is the pitcher a workman? No, he's a semi-star, not a workman. Is the batter a whiffer? He certainly is. He's going to strike out. So Rooms with the strikeout, and that's the 1-2-3 inning for Zane Smith. He takes care of the Reds, and we go to the 3rd inning. Score still 2-0 Montreal. And the heart of the order up, Marquise Grissom, Tim Raines, and Tim Wallach. A couple of Tims. 1-1-5. Is he fresh? We're still in the 3rd inning, so he's definitely fresh. So it's a pop out to the infielder of our choice. And we'll say he pops up to Sabo. Not that it really matters. 1 away. It is our choice, so we can pick any infielder we wish. We pick Sabo. All right, here's Raines. 2-4-6 is a control check. That's his only quality is control, so it's a ground ball right back to Browning. So 2 quick outs for Mr. Browning. And Browning now has retired 7 in a row after that rough start. And that'll bring up Tim Eli Wallach. Sacrifice fly his first chance. 1-1-6 is another freshness check. We're in the 3rd inning, so he's still fresh. It's a strikeout. So Browning a 1-2-3 frame. And now that's 8 in a row retired by Browning. But he's still in the short end of a 2-0 stick. And Zane Smith will be facing the bottom of the order for the Reds. Oliver, Browning, and then top of the order, Sabo. Oliver's hitting .212, no homers, 5 driven in. 3-3-4, ace or star. He is a semi-star. The dot gives it to him, so it's a pop up to first base. So because that came up a dot, he is a star for this at bat, and that worked out in his favor. Pop out to first. And here's the pitcher, Browning, and he's got the normal pitcher hitting qualities. Nothing new there. 1-4-6 is the pitcher have flash. He's got semi-flash, but the dot doesn't give it to him. So we skip that. Is the batter a champion? No, he's not. He's going to ground to second. And that's going to make it 2 away. So since the dot did not come up, it's not going to be a strikeout. It's simply going to be a ground out to second for out number 2. Which in this case didn't really matter, but had a runner been on first, it would have mattered. It would have been a double play. All right, here's Sabo. He struck out his first chance. 1-2-5. Is the pitcher struggling? No. It's a batter patient. Sabo is not listed as patient, so he will ground to third, and that's going to end the inning. So 3 up and 3 down for Zane Smith. We go to the 4th. Still 2-0. That 2-0 score is holding up as we completed 3 innings. So after I get to each block of 3 innings, I like to take a little quick, maybe call it coffee break. I do have my coffee here. Need to drink that before it gets cold. And Jeffrey, you'll appreciate that. That's some good coffee. It's not iced coffee. It's regular warm coffee. My favorite coffee by this company called Javalia. I love their coffee. All right, so we're ready to start the top of the 4th. Now both pitchers resume semi-freshness, not full freshness. They're going to need the dot to come up to keep their freshness. Here's Galarraga, 1-2-5. Struggling pitcher, no. Is he patient? Galarraga is actually semi-eager. So he will ground to third unless he's a whiffer. He is a whiffer, so he will strike out instead. So his propensity to strike out turns that grounder into a strikeout. 1 away. And here's Larry Walker. 2-3-5, and that is his pitcher's not wild. Is the batter eager? He's not eager, so he will ground to second, and that's 2 away. So Browning continues his hot pitching, but he's still in a 2-0 shortage. But for Browning, he has retired now 10 in a row since he walked Galarraga in the first. 2-6-6. Runner on first, thrown out. Nobody there. He's not a leadoff batter, so he's going to fly to right field. So that's 11 in a row retired by Browning. And that will be make quick work of the Expos here in the fourth. We go to the bottom of the fourth, still 2-0 Montreal. And for the Reds, it will be Hatcher, Larkin, and Benzinger as the Reds try to get something good. 2-4-5. Is the batter a hero? Hatcher is a semi-hero, but the dot takes it away. So he's not a hero with this at bat. He's going to pop to second. And that results in red, so we're going to the experience chart for the next at bat. Zane Smith is a semi-icon, and Barry Larkin is neutral. So advantage Zane Smith on the experience chart if the dot comes up. It does not, so they're both going to be neutral on the experience chart. So neither batter or pitcher has the experience advantage in this at bat. 4-5. Prospect batter. No, he's not a prospect. He's just not an icon, so he's neutral. If he was a prospect, he'd be struck out. Otherwise, hard to field infield grounder batter out at first, but an active runner would be safe. All right, so we're going to have to see if he's active. He is not, so he's going to be out. And we're just going to say he grounds it to third for Tim Wallach, who made a nice play and throws out Barry Larkin for out number 2. Next Stratomatic game will probably be tonight. Most likely will be this evening. It will be the start of the April 27th games. There are 3 games played that day, and the first game is Boston and Oakland. Will be Bob Stanley against Kurt Young, and that should be tonight sometime around 8:30ish, maybe, or whenever RJL has finished his game. All right, here is going to be Benziger with 2 outs and the bases cleared. 4-4s, that's good for the hitter, very Apple-like. So 4-4s for Benziger, and we'll see what happens with him. It's double to right field unless he's a home run king. He is not a home run king, but it will be a double for Benziger. So Benziger cracks a 2-out double. And that is the first hit of the game for the Reds since the first inning. As Zane Smith had a string of retired batters in a row, and now here's Duncan in a clutch situation. Hey there, Mr. Steve. Good to see you. Reds are struggling. Browning gave up 2 in the first, but he's held his own since. And now with 2 outs, Duncan's trying to bring Benziger in. 1-1-2. Does he have flash? He's got semi-flash. The dot gives it to him, so he's going to get a strikeout to end the inning. So the 2-out double by Benziger goes for naught. And the Reds come away empty-handed. We've completed 4 in Cincinnati. It's still Montreal 2 and the Reds nothing. So Spike Owen will lead off for the Expos in the bottom of the 5th. Browning, like I said, has retired 10 in a row. 4-4-6. Is he a star? No. Is the batter sad sack, utility, or patient? He is utility, so he will take a called strike 3, and that's going to make it 11 in a row. So he has retired 11 in a row. He gave up the first 3 hits of the 3 batters of the game, got hits to score 2 runs, but other than that, he's shut them down. Here's Zane Smith. 3-3-5. Pitcher's not wild. Is he a sad sack? He's a semi-sad sack. The dot gives it to him, so he's going to ground to second. And that makes it 12 in a row by Tom Browning. Trying to keep his team in the game. 2 outs, bases clear for Delino DeShields. 3-6-6. He's not a pinch hitter, so that makes it 13 in a row as he ends up flying to center field to end the inning. So 13 in a row retired by Browning, but he's waiting for his team to get him some offense. Reds have been rather stagnant on the offensive side. And Paul O'Neill's going to try to change that as he leads off against Zane Smith. 3-5-6 is a left-right split. That's lefty on lefty, so that's a Circle K strikeout. And that's the first left-right split check we've had in this game. So you don't think it's going to come up very often, but when it does, it kind of hurts you sometimes. Here's Orlando Rooms. 2-2-4. He's not pitching at home. It's the second time we've had that result for Zane Smith, and he's lost out twice. Is a batter a slugger? He is a semi-slugger. The dot says he is. So it's a double to left field for Orlando Rooms. Orlando Rooms gets a double by the fact that he was a slugger in this particular bat. And that brings up Joe Oliver. 4-5-6 for Oliver. Is he patient? Joe Oliver is not patient. He will fly to center. That is out number 2. And that's going to take us to the chemistry chart for the Tom Browning at bat. And full chemistry or full harmony for the Reds, neutral for the Expos. 2-4. Batting team harmony. Yes, batter connects with a bloop single. So a bloop single with lead die of 2. Let's see what the lead die of 2 says. Active runner scores from first on doubles or from second on any hit. Rooms, though, is not active. Rooms is stoic, so even with the 2-out single, he has to hold. So Browning gets the hit, but it won't produce any runs because of the stoic runner. It's going to put runners at the corners with 2 outs, but now it's up to Chris Sabo to get it done. Base runners are on the pond for Sabo to get something done. Here against Zane Smith. 2-3-6 is double control. He doesn't have that, so that's a walk. It's going to load the bases. So now the bases are loaded for Billy Hatcher. Hatcher is up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Again, a clutch situation for the Reds. That's a 1-2-4, which is a control check. He has the control quality, so it's going to be a ground out to short, and they'll go the force way 6-4 on the fielder's choice to end the inning. So the Reds are going to leave them loaded, and that might very well come back to bite them. As they can't get it done. We go now to the top of the 6th. This is the final inning for Tom Browning to be semi-fresh. Zane Smith will keep semi-freshness as long as the shutout continues. But Browning can't do that because he's already given up 2 runs. So here's Grissom. 1-4-5. He's not a struggler, so it's ground out to third. And that's now, I believe, 14 in a row. I'll double check it so I can keep track here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 2 there. 3, 6, 9, 12. That's 15 in a row now retired by Tom Browning. 15 in a row retired by Browning. Now I probably just jinxed him, but oh well. Here's Tim Raines. 2-3-5. Pitcher's not wild. Is the batter eager? Raines is not eager, so he's going to ground to second unless he is patient. He's semi-patient. The dot says he is, so he's going to draw a walk, and that takes the 15 in a row out of the equation. So the fact that he was semi-patient, the dot gave it to him. Tim Raines waits out another walk, and he's aboard to break up that string of runners there, and he's going to be looking to get the steal as well. He's going to be looking to go with 1 out. And again, to get the jump, he needs the dot. He doesn't get it, so he cannot go. He's going to have to be held there. Could not get the lead, and that brings up Tim Wallach. Whoa, we got Sua dice coming all over the place here. So let's try again. 2-2-3. Pitcher's not wild. He's slugger or utility. He is a slugger, so that means he's going to line out to short, and that's out number 2. So Wallach lines it right to Larkin. 2 away. And that brings up the big cat, Galarraga. Hello, Philip. How are you doing? Brings up the big cat, Galarraga. 1-5-6. He's not. The pitcher's blank. Is Galarraga a whiffer? He certainly is. He's going to strike out. And that's going to end the inning. So Browning coming back in a big way after a struggled first inning. He has been nearly untouchable since then. But he's still behind 2-0 because his team can't figure out Zane Smith. So the Reds, let's see what they can do against Zane Smith. Barry Larkin. 1-1-6. This is a freshness check, but the dot says no, so he is not fresh. Is it batter utility or sad sack? Well, Larkin's none of that. So that's a base hit to left field. Single to left field for Larkin. And now maybe the Reds can get something cooking here in the bottom of the 6th. As Larkin, your leadoff man, is aboard. And that will send up Todd Benzinger, the designated hot batter in this game. 3-5-6, that's a left-right split, but it's a switch hitter, so that means he gets the base hit. It's a righty batter against a lefty pitcher because of the switch hitter, so he gets the base hit. Lead dive 3 is a 2-base advancement, and maybe the Reds have something cooking after all. Runners are on the corners with nobody out, and that sets up for Mariano Duncan. The Expos playing back for the double play. They will trade a run if they can record 2 outs. Here's Duncan, 2-2-4, pitching at home. That's the 3rd time that's cost Zane Smith because he's on the road. So he's not pitching at home. Is a batter a slugger? No, he's not a slugger. But he's still going to single to right field. And that's going to finally put the Reds on the scoreboard. Benzinger will stop at second. But Duncan gets the base hit. And that result is actually in blue, so we're going to the right now chart. Coming up, Zane Smith is now a semi-struggler because of the fact he's given up 3 consecutive base runners. It's now 2-1. Reds have cut into that lead. And now Paul O'Neill will bat on the right now chart against Mr. Smith. And Zane Smith is cold because he just gave up that hit. O'Neill struck out his last time, so he's cold. So we got a cold pitcher against a cold batter. And that's 4-6. Hot pitcher. No, he's not a hot pitcher. Otherwise, grounder to pitcher with only play at first base. So it acts like a sacrifice pretty much. The only play he's going to have is the first base. It's going to go 1-3. But the tying and go-ahead runs have moved into scoring position for the Reds with now 2 outs. I'm sorry, 1 out. And the infield's going to have to come in for Montreal as they don't want to give up the tie and run if they can avoid it. So it's Orlando Rooms. He actually doubled his last time up. That's a 2-3-4. And a 2-3-4 says runners on base, plate drama. There are definitely runners on base. So we do have plate drama. And the catcher for the Expos, Santavina, is semi-iron. Keep that in mind. He is semi-iron. So let's see if he's going to be iron or not. He is. So he's going to be an iron catcher. That could come into play. 1-6. Catcher iron. Yes, it's going to be a pass ball, and that will tie the game. Benziger scores. Duncan goes to third on the pass ball by Santavina. Since he was an iron catcher, the pass ball comes into play, and the Reds have tied the score. And they have a runner on third with less than 2 outs. And that result was in purple. So now we're going to shift to the chemistry chart. Infield still in for the Expos. 2-4. Batting team harmony. Yes, they are harmonious. It's a bloop single. off the bat of Orlando Rooms, and the Reds have taken the lead. They've come all the way back to take a 3-2 lead. 3 runs here in the 6th have put them in the lead, 3-2. And now you wonder if Zane Smith might be in trouble. Here's Joe Oliver. Still only 1 out. 4-5-6 for Oliver. Is the batter patient? No, he's not patient. He will fly to center. That's out number 2. 2 down. And we're going to the chemistry chart for the next at bat of Tom Browning. We would have pinch hit for Browning, but now they've got the lead. They're going to leave him in there. So they're going to leave Browning in the game. And chemistry chart for Browning, 1-4. Batting team distance. No, they're not dissonant, so it will be a single. And that'll put Rooms over to second base. Browning with his second hit of the game. And that'll bring up Sabo. And now the Montreal bullpen is loosening. They do have right-hander Bill Sampson loosening their bullpen as they try to get Zane Smith through this inning. 1-5-6 is the batter a whiffer. Sabo is not a whiffer, so we have outfield drama for Montreal. In their outfield, semi-gold is Walker and Wright. Everybody else is neutral. So now everybody is neutral in the outfield for outfield drama. 1-2. Right fielder Iron. No, he's semi-gold. He's not Iron, so he makes the catch, does Walker, to retire Sabo. But the Reds send 8 to the plate. 3 of them score. And at the end of 6 complete, it is now a big turnaround as the Reds have a lead of 3-2. And now the Reds may be looking to their bullpen in back of Browning, just in case Browning falters. Browning has now lost all freshness, so any fresh checks, he is going to fail those. So in their bullpen, they do have Rob Dibble, the right-hander, loosening in the bullpen. Rob Dibble. But right now it's going to be Larry Walker leading things off against Browning. 2-6-6. 2-6-6. He's the leadoff batter of the inning. Yes, he is. So he will single. So Larry Walker, because he was leading off the inning, he singles. So leadoff single for Walker, and now Dibble starting to toss a little more earnestly in the bullpen. And that'll bring up Santavina. 1-3-5. First time we had a rare play result. And the red 1 and black 5 leads us to balks and bogeys. So we go to balks and bogeys. See what happens on balks and bogeys. A 1-5. Rain delay. Roll 1 die. 1-2 game resumes later. All players cold. 3-6 game is called. Well, if we get a 3-6, the game is called. It's an official game, and the Reds would win. 1-2, the game resumes. So there it is. The game has been called due to rain. Look at it right here in balks and bogeys. That balks and bogeys result, that 1-5 balks and bogeys says rain delay, roll 1 die, 1-2 game resumes later, all players cold, 3-6 game called. There you go. I don't think Cincinnati's considered a dry climate, so that's going to be it. There is your ball game. It is called due to rain. So there you have it. The Cincinnati Reds win it by the score of 3-2. I would not have called this game had it been unofficial, but since it's an official game, we're going to call the game. And I got to figure out on the Strat computer how to end the game that way. I don't know if there is a way to do that, though. That's the only problem. I don't know how to do that on the Strat computer because I don't think there's a way to manipulate that somehow. That's because, Robert, you don't play History Maker Baseball. That's why you don't have rainouts on your channel. It would probably add to your channel if you did have rainouts or rain delay. I know Inside Pitch has rain delays or Fall Classic. One of those two has a rain delay function in there somewhere. But we have a rainout. So the Storms open up, and Tom Browning is going to get a complete game. How about that? Tom Browning will have a complete game to his credit. So we'll get the final statistics to pass along. Reds win. They improve now to 10-3. There's 7 wins in a row for the Reds. Tom Browning's going to go 6 innings, give up 4 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned, 2 walks and 6 strikeouts, and he gets the win to improve to 2-0. And the tough luck loss is to Zane Smith. Smith went 6 innings, gave up 9 hits and 3 runs, which were all earned, 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. There were no home runs in the game. So 3 runs, 9 hits, and no errors for the Reds. 2 runs and 4 hits and no errors for the Expos. Expos left on 3, the Reds left on 7. So the Expos dropped to 9-7. The Reds improved to 10-3. That one, Jeffrey, I do not know. Actually, I could. That's a thought. I could suspend this and pick it up in the following day, but I'm thinking back in 1990 that it's an official game. They would just call it. They would only suspend it if it didn't go to the required 5 innings. So I'm just going to call it what it is, and say that's the final score. And that's what happens when you get to balks and bogeys. Like I said, that's the balks and bogeys chart. Rain delay. But if you roll a 3 through 6, the game is called. That's just what came up on balks and bogeys. I can't help what the dice produce. It's an official game. So there you go. Reds win it by the final score of 3-2. They improved to 10-3. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to do this in the Strat computer. I may have to leave this game saved as is. And I don't know. I have to do some kind of workaround, I suppose, to figure it out how I'm going to do this, because I don't know how else to do it. So I'm going to save this box score. And that way, now we go to the next game on the schedule, which is the April 28th game. It's Oil Can Boyd against Jack Armstrong. Yes, definitely, Steve. They were already off because they had a travel day coming from Philadelphia. So this gives them 2 days of rest in their bullpen. Actually, both teams now have 2 days rest for their bullpen because both pitchers pitch complete games. So they're going to be well rested. No question about it. But Oil Can Boyd and Jack Armstrong are your upcoming things. And I'm wondering, since this was I was going to say maybe I could go straight into the next game, but that's going to take a while to set that up. So I think we'll just call it as it is. And like I said, I will play games 14 and 15, the final 2 games of this series. I will record those and piecemeal them out. But while I've got everything all set up here, I don't want to have to tear it down, put the Stratomatic stuff up there, and then bring this back. I'd rather have it here when everything is in front of me, and I can go ahead and finish things out and get those all complete. Like I said, I don't know on the Strat computer how I'm going to be able to do this, though, as far as keeping the full stats of the game, because there's no option in there that I know of, unless there's something deep inside their menu about rainouts. There's nothing I know of that causes that to do that. So I'm going to figure out how to finish that game. And maybe I'll go on the Strat forum or something, see if somebody can tell me how to do that. So there it is. There's your final score, 3-2, your final. I'll bring in my rather non-neat score sheet. There you can see it. 3-2, the final. Browning and Smith, complete games, both of them. So that's what you have. If I can figure out the cold and hot batters going forward, obviously Benziger will continue to be a hot batter because he was 2 for 3 with a single and a double. So he continues to be the hot batter because I don't know if Rooms is going to start the next game or not. So with the righty on the mound, Oil Can Boyd, he probably won't even be playing. I'm sure Benziger will. So we'll probably have Benziger as the hot player, and the cold player for the Expos looks to be potentially Spike Owen. He was 0 for 2, but Santavino was also 0 for 2, but I don't know if Santavino is going to catch the next game. Galarraga was the hot batter, but he did have a walk despite his 2 strikeouts. So I'll figure it out at some point when I set up the score sheet and whatnot. But there you go, Chuck. That's the way I see it. 3-2 in 6 innings. And that's another neat thing about History Maker Baseball. You don't get this kind of result usually in other games. So that's what makes this game unique. That's why it's a game. It's not like the simulations per se, although there's a simulation aspect to it. It does bring the gameness into it. That's a term that Al Wilson used in his review of this thing years ago, is it brings out the gameness feature because it is a tabletop game. And baseball just happens to be there. So, but I do think over the long haul, it's fairly accurate. Like I said, I did my 1987 Atlanta Braves. You can go check it out. Check out my review, my last video I did with all the stats laid out, and you can see how close it came to real world. So there is method to the madness as far as the ratings and whatnot go. So definitely a unique game. It's hard to compare this to any other game because it's really not comparable to other games. I'm sure on the rare plays, it probably has an inside the park home run in there somewhere. If I scroll through all the unusual plays, I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I just haven't seen it. You might have to go to like highlight reel plays, which are, you got to roll doubles a couple times in a row to get highlight reel plays. I do know there's an unassisted, let's see, there's a hidden ball trick on highlight reel Y. I do see that. Here's one that's really weird. Look at this. I don't know how well it shows up on camera with this background. But on highlight reel Y, the 4-4 says foul out to catcher, runner on third scores. Now that's pretty interesting. Runner on third would score. Interesting on that one. Here's one that says called third strike, batter argues with shoves umpire and is ejected and suspended and fined. If it's a questionable umpire, the manager is also ejected and fined. So how about that? Here's one interesting here. Highlight reel Z, 6'6", fan injured and fall from upper deck trying to catch ball. Home team now dissident. I would think he's not injured. He'd probably be dead from falling from the upper deck. I'm not sure why it says injured. I would think if he fell from the upper deck, that'd probably be a fatal thing to happen. Here's one. Pop fly hits bird overhead. Ruled as a single. Runner advances 1 base. Drunken fan charges the visitor batter pitcher. Lands punch before being removed. Visitor player dazed. Classified as cold. Rest of game. So there's all kinds of stuff on here I haven't even delved into yet because I never even got to those. You're true. That's true, Steve. I don't want to read any more because I'd rather experience them as we get to them. So yeah, I'd rather not go. I just was giving some examples of how unique this game is. So anyway, there you go. 3-2, the final. A rain shortened game. We didn't even make it to the 7th inning stretch because we got rain before it happened. And the Expos unfortunately did have the tying run at first base with nobody out, but then the rains came, and despite the squeegees and everything else on the AstroTurf, it was not enough. The rain just continued. There was not enough to. They didn't want to wait any longer, and umpire said enough of that. Doug Harvey, the crew chief, says game's called. So there you go. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all enjoyed that presentation. Hello, Christopher Hoffman. I haven't seen you before. If I can remember correctly, I don't remember seeing you in the comments before. So welcome aboard. I'm sorry I missed you earlier. I was falling behind on the chat. So there you go. 3-2, your final. Reds now 10-3. And I'll record the next 2 games in this series. I'll record those and put them out probably as premieres later in the week. But I want to go ahead and get those recorded and be done with them so I can move on to my Stratomatic replay starting tonight. American League 1987. Back to that, the struggling Boston Red Sox against the surprising Oakland A's. And if you're a Bob Stanley fan, he's going to be starting for the Red Sox. That is correct, Chris. It's definitely, it keeps its realism, but it does add the gameness to it. So it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion. Only game with umpires, of course. That's another big feature that I like. There, there's I could do a whole video on what I like about this game, but that's going to do it from here. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to check out RJL's video tonight on Inside Pitch. I guess it's Inside Pitch because he did Fall Classic yesterday, so I'm assuming today is Inside Pitch 1983. In fact, I think he put a comment in here earlier that said something about that. Let me double check that. Where'd it go here? Now I'm trying to find it. I know I saw something. Maybe I missed it. I know Uncle Ron's still a Bob Stanley fan. I don't know about anybody else. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this set up for future games so I can get those recorded and knock those out. Again, appreciate everybody that tuned in. Although a truncated game, it still turned out to be what I thought was a good game. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.